Hi, I'm Alison. Welcome to Dream Chasers Adventures in Happiness, where my band of superhero guests and I share with you tales of daring do, life-changing journeys towards living our best lives. If you're after an injection of inspiration and ideas to live the life that you want and deserve, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Hi there, and welcome to the show where we serve up conversation, ideas, and belief that it really is possible to identify and achieve what you most desire from a career or lifestyle point of view. I'm your host, Alison O'Leary, and today I'm joined by a brilliant guest who is in the midst of a career transition into something that is perfectly suited to her. Eleanor Willock spent the first 25 years of her working life in PR and communications for technology and public sector clients, which is actually how we know one another. And she's recently retrained as a celebrant. So she's stepping into her second career, creating really unique wedding ceremonies, as well as vow renewals and naming days and family unity ceremonies for people who, in her words, want their celebrations to stay in their hearts forever. Today, we're going to talk about how Eleanor chose this career path, the skills that she's using to make her transition, and the practical reality from a financial point of view. So welcome to the show, Eleanor. Thanks so much for coming on.
Hi, Alison. Hi.
Brilliant to see you.
Good
so
to see you
can
too.
we start, if I may, can I take you back to the time before you made your change, so the transition, and indeed even the time before you even knew what you wanted to make the change to? And can you share a little bit about how you were feeling? Like, what was it that drove the need for change?
I think a variety of things. I wasn't unhappy with the work that I was doing, but I wasn't happy either. When you have been in a senior position for quite a while, sometimes it's a struggle to challenge and motivate yourself as much as you're challenging and motivating your team and other people.
Yeah.
And it's no secret, I'm 48. I was 48 a couple of weeks ago. And maybe when I was around 45, when my smallest son was around 3, I started to realize that I wanted to stretch myself a little bit more, and that the career path that I'd chosen was perhaps, hopefully, a gateway to something else and not where I wanted to end my career. You and I both know that senior women in communications are not rare by any means, but are quite extraordinary. And I wanted to not perhaps be an agency lead for the rest of my career.
Yeah.
That's a simple. I was feeling curious. I was feeling at times quite low. I was feeling the pressures that most of us feel around our children and wanting to spend more time with them, as well as servicing clients as well as we can. Now, the agency that I had been part of building was very flexible, and we'd between us, we'd raised many children very happily and done a great job of keeping to that flexible ethos as we moved into being acquired, and we'd also moved through COVID pretty successfully as far as businesses go. But perhaps in hindsight, all of that was quite grueling mentally. And it began to make me realise that if there was a time to change, it was effectively now.
Now, yeah, I can completely resonate with that. I think I got there sooner than you.
You for sure did.
But it's
I did lack confidence. I did lack confidence.
That's
and that's
not unusual.
How you and I ended up talking. So somebody who works in public relations, I was a little bit underconfident and perhaps a bit confused about what my real skills were, because they've been tested so many times, and you know, self-doubt is inevitable even if you are as outgoing as I am. And I needed some external guidance and some coaching, some reassurance, some of the things that sometimes us senior people don't get from work, even if it's on offer. So that's how you and I ended up talking, because I wanted to discover myself a bit.
Okay. So obviously, yeah, we started working together, and I took you through a number of different exercises that got to the heart of and really drew out your core strengths, your transferable skills, your the things that you are passionate about. We did a bit around values and personality profiling to kind of get a holistic picture of what ultimately drives and motivates you, and what interests you, what you care about, and what you're good at. Because, for listeners, when you put all of those things together, they're a bit like the pieces of a puzzle. It really starts to help inform a path. But can you share a little bit about, from the work that we did and the information that came out of it, like, how did you choose to become an independent celebrant? Like, how did you know that it was the right choice? Because I think a lot of people really worry when they're thinking about, I would really like to make a change. They really worry about making the wrong choice, taking a leap of faith and then ending up in the wrong place and it not delivering what they were hoping for. So how did you know that being a celebrant was the right thing?
Well, I've lost the headphones, sorry.
That's all right. Live.
Well, yeah, that's smiling for you. It just pops them out straight out your ears, doesn't it? I'll try and be very serious now. I left my job with no job to go to, just to be clear. I handed in my notice with the intention of finding what I wanted. I hadn't had that career light bulb moment at that time. That was daunting enough. And I think we're going to talk about how financially daunting that can be later on. And also, to be clear, it's always been my intention to run a freelance career alongside what I'm doing now. Again, we can talk about that later. If you're out there, hire me. But actually, it was down to some colleagues, ex-colleagues now, and they were ex-colleagues at the time. I was absolutely thrilled and very touched to be invited to one of my ex-colleagues' weddings, and I went along with another ex-colleague, and we were sat there, and the ceremony had just finished, and it was beautiful. And my colleague, who I was a guest with, turned to me and said, "You know what? You'd be really good at this." And I just went, "Oh my God, yes, I would. I really would be really good at this. This puts together all my skills. It ticks all the boxes. It will really help contextualize what I need for my career." And I got extremely excited about it very quickly. And that was mostly thanks to the work that you and I had done together, identifying my experiences and my skills and my core values as well. One of my core values was love, humor, and context thinking has always been very important to me in terms of looking at the past to inform the future. And we skirted around it so many times in the work that we've done.
Ministry came up, interestingly, didn't it, several times in relation to the skills and the strengths.
It did.
It was it's over time.
A lot of celebrants have either thought about the ministry or been in the ministry at some point. But fundamentally, independent celebrants can bring all kinds of elements into your ceremony, whether it's a wedding ceremony or a vow renewal or a unity ceremony. A celebrant can help you if you are Jewish and your partner is Christian. We can bring in elements of both those religions to your wedding ceremony, whereas it would be hard to do that in a synagogue or in a church. And if you are if you're polyamorous, we can bring in those elements in a ceremony. There's so many different
so much freedom.
There's so much freedom, and I love that. And despite the fact I got married in a church, very conventionally, and I absolutely loved it, wouldn't change a bit about it. It's very frustrating to me that there are only certain religious institutions, and it is only certain ones. Not all religious institutions and buildings can hold legal wedding ceremonies. I truly think that, like America and Australia and some other countries, we should be able to get married to whoever we want, wherever we want, however we want, with whatever we want in the ceremony. If you and I want to dress up as Minnie Mouse and Lord Vader and get married, why not?
Why not? Absolutely.
Why not?
This whole idea, though, from everything that we did, like you said, one of your strengths was around context thinking, and so taking a look at people, like understanding people in the context of people and their situations, and in order to make decisions about an approach you might take or a solution you might find, I can absolutely see how that follows through if you're working
Completely.
with people, so you get really under the skin of understanding them and why they want what they want, and then building that in. Because again, and that from our history together, never mind the work that we did, you're also massively creative. I remember you organising and running training sessions for the teams and running Pencil Club, which is a writing club. You're always really creative. And I could just also imagine that drawing all of that in, makes you get to create really individual, very special ceremonies for people.
Yeah, and that's what's super fun about. That's what's super fun about the independence of it all. So I've just written a ceremony for a couple who he is South African, she is English. They met in South Africa on Table Mountain, and I've just written their ceremony to include this beautiful tasting of the elements ritual, which is where you effectively are showing that you will take the rough with the smooth for marriage. So it's 4 different elements. It's from the Yoruba culture. It's beautiful. And in its purest form, you do shots of cayenne pepper, vinegar, lemon juice, and honey to show that you will take the sour, the bitter, the sweet, etc. In my ceremony, they are doing it 2 elements from South Africa and 2 elements from the Peak District, which is where she's from. And the bitter is vinegar from her local chippy, for example. So,
brilliant, inspired. You've
got stuff like that, and then you've got stuff like we have our one of the first weddings I did. The couple were Norse pagans, and it was a very beautiful and passionate ceremony, and really lovely to be part of. And they haven't always been Norse pagans. It's something they've adapted in later life. And their main worry, as you allude to, was that their friends and family would not take it seriously, because it's quite a big step. As you said, I'm quite used to, I think as comms people, we're quite used to making sure that things have gravitas, things are serious when they need to be, things are lighthearted when they need to be. And at its biggest core, who am I, who are we to say that that isn't a serious thing to them?
Yeah.
It's my job to support them. Same as in crisis management, it's my job to get you through that. Same as in writing an appointment release for somebody at a mid-sized software company from Slough. I need to make them feel and sound as special as they are. It's all part of the same thing. You take the brief, you build the relationship, you deliver the content, and then you personally deliver the content to the best of your ability. It's brilliant. It's just a bit happier.
You're making a really good point here, because when we're talking about sort of transferable skills, I think a lot of people, I was definitely in this camp when I was thinking about making a change. You think, well, I've spent 20, 25 years doing this particular job and role, and now I'm thinking of doing this completely different thing over here. So I'm going to have to throw out everything I've known, and I'm going to have to start again. And the truth is, that's not the case at all. So everything you're describing, through all the transferable skills, everything you've built up, from your ability and your amazing ability to write, which you're obviously doing to write these ceremonies for people.
I know, it's so fun. And I do feel like I've got a leg up there, because I understand writing and understand the technology part of it as well, which doesn't come naturally to everybody.
No, absolutely. And your innate ability to story tell. So and I found this when I made change, because I was thinking that I was just getting rid of and chucking away my old career and stepping into this one, but it couldn't have been further from the truth, because I need to be able to market myself. So it came in very handy. I need to, I'm dealing with people every day. I do a lot of corporate work. So I'm writing scopes of work for people, so all of the skills, and actually even the network from my old PR days, a lot of people from my original PR network became clients, so case in point. So, it's a really important point for people that if nothing is ever lost. No matter what you've been doing, there are ways and means of taking the skill sets that you've built up and adapting them and just applying them in a different way.
And having the confidence to do it.
Brilliant. And having the confidence to do it, because actually it's all there. You've been using it for all of those years anyway. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty of finances, because this is the other thing I think that people really worry about, in terms of making a change. It's a really easy assumption to make that, oh God, I'm going to start again. I'm going to have to earn peanuts. This is, and there's a great risk in it. So therefore, no, I can't go there. Can you share a little bit about, your approach? Because obviously you spent 25 years in PR, you came with a healthy salary. And now you are, you've started again. You're building your own business as an independent celebrant. So how are you approaching that transition from a financial point of view?
Woefully, because I'm terrible with money. But
love the honesty.
in reality, I think this is where you would probably slap some kind of privilege warning on this podcast. In reality, I am a happily married woman in a financially settled relationship, and I was lucky enough to exit my previous career at a very relatively senior point. And I have reinvested the savings that I had and some of the money that I made a couple of years ago from the acquisition into this business. And that has been a completely natural way for me to do it, because I followed all the elements that I normally would have used in a PR campaign. I've gone and I've bought advertising, and I've done my SEO, and I've built my website, and I've got my photo shoot done, and I've joined all the socials I can. I've even had to join TikTok. Oh my God. That thing is stressful. Oh my God. Yeah.
I haven't gone there yet.
No.
But yeah.
Now, there's a guy down my gym who is a physics teacher, and he gets all his business from TikTok.
Really? Wow.
Because he talks about physics in little chunks. Anyway, that's a completely different podcast. Chunks of physics isn't my bag. But we, as a unit, me and my husband, gave me a certain amount of time to make this work. And time is marching on. So the more time marches on, the more strident I am about trying to get there. I will get there. One thing I would say that I probably should have planned for is that if you're coming to me now asking for my services as a wedding celebrant, you're not getting married next week, and I'm not getting paid next week.
Oh, that's true. Of course, yeah, because there's the whole time lag of working on it.
I'm married in 2026. Can you help? Well, yes, I can.
Right. Of course. Yeah. So, that's a really good point.
Yeah, so that is probably a macro thing that people looking at this as a career should definitely think about. Also, I want to be able to do freelance work in the field that I've exited, if possible. And that's something I need to think about pouring some more energy into before Christmas, probably. I feel like now I've got the confidence to be able to run those two careers together. I mean, I've run a lot more complex things concurrently than these two jobs, I think, and I can do it. And I've got my family balance right, and we have made some sacrifices in terms of the way we live our life. Not too many, and I'm hoping that the children wouldn't notice. All the children would notice is that I'm here. I spent the whole summer with them, which, they're 6 and 10, so obviously that's awesome.
You needed a summer break after it was finished.
Yeah, right. I'm doing a very long wedding in the Outer Hebrides. It's a 4-week-long ceremony immediately after. No, I feel like for us, this has been worth doing so far. And the message I would give to anybody who's thinking of making a change is you just have to you do have to try, and you can do this. I think people who maybe know me personally might be surprised in my lack of confidence, but I definitely suffered from lack of confidence. And, gosh, if I had £1 for every time I felt like the invisible middle-aged woman on any platform, I'd probably have, a few pounds.
But you're doing it though. You're doing it anyway. You're stepping into it. I am, and I get, yeah, it's brilliant. It's brave, and it's, you know, not everybody does. And I think what you're talking about in terms of, you know, to like still maintaining a sort of freelance career whilst you build this up, it's another really important point. So, you know, a lot of the people that I work with obviously are coming from very professional jobs with you know, hefty salaries and the lifestyle that comes with it, and the idea of just giving that up is you know, it's unrealistic. Much the same as me when I made my change. And so, you know, there's a really important point about a transition period, you know, and it's different for everybody. You know, for me, I went part-time. So I continued with my PR job and did it part-time for another 18 months while I built my business up in the background until I hit a tipping point where I was financially able to just step into it, you know, full throttle. You know, but, you know, so for anybody thinking about making a change, you don't have to. It's not a kind of switch off one career, switch on another.
No. You
can decide what that transition period looks like, and it can be a number of years. You know, it took me 4 years in total to make the change. You know, so, you know, you running a kind of freelance career alongside this as you build it up, and you might keep it going if you like doing it. And, you know, it's just a really smart move that takes the fear out of, oh God, how am I going to earn enough to keep going?
Yeah.
At the very early stages.
Freelance work in my industry is there. I think it would be a lot more helpful if people looking for freelancers open their minds a bit about what they actually need and who they're looking at on the page. Because there are a lot of people in my scenario who are perfectly happy to do jobs that we've done previously in our careers. I think one of the perfectly cool things about being the leader of a PR company, if you're or having a leader of a PR company, if you're working your way up the career ladder and you're working for that person, is that the chances are your boss in your PR agency will have done every single job that you have that you have in that agency. It's pretty rare that you get somebody who just walks into a PR agency as the MD who's never done PR and who's never been an MD. So
that's not going to happen, no.
That would be pretty questionable. But so we always have that sense of empathy, I think we do, about, you know, what's going on at which stage and how best to do it. It's one of the great advantages of a career in PR. And I think that should apply to freelance work as well. You should look at the person, what experience they've got, what qualities they've got, not look at what accounts they've worked on or, you know, whatever salary they've earned previously. A good freelancer is just going to get in there and do the job for you.
Do the job.
Yeah. So that would be how I change the freelance industry. I think I'd encourage everybody that is thinking of making a career change to discuss openly with everybody in your household that you need to discuss it with, how that might affect your relationship with them, your relationship with your children, your ability to do things. As you say, in the next 5 years, this is not a next year thing. This is what can we do if this happens? But also I would encourage people, if they haven't decided what to do just yet, to test out different things, to do as much CPD as you can, to join some courses. For example, going to wedding fairs was a good way to find out if I wanted to continue with my choice, because you know, you can sort of go a bit undercover and meet some people who might be doing the same job as you, or you can also let's look at the industry. Wedding industry is pretty different from the, you know, the world of software and public sector. But
it's really, what you're talking about is really important, because it's, you know, and I get people to do this when it comes to kind of coming up with, after doing a lot of kind of digging into a person and kind of what, like I said, what drives and motivates them and what they're good at and stuff. It's, you know, and you're coming up with ideas, I get people to test it out, go, you know, research and talk to people and be in the places and, you know, try out some training courses like Touch, so that you can test how your responses to the different things you might be considering, so that you're not just taking a plunge straight off the bat. but you know, you're having a go at it. You know, for me, I hired a coach to help me, and through that process, I was like, you know, absolutely, I knew that was absolutely what I wanted to do based on my experience with her.
Well, there's such a value in having external help if you can find it. Much as your partner or your best friend or your work best friend or anybody can tell you how marvelous they think you are and say, oh, you're so funny, you're so creative. Sometimes we need to hear it from somebody that has no agency in telling you those things, has no agenda. And I, again, privilege warning, I've been very lucky with my career, and I haven't very often been told, no, you can't. And that's a mixture of right place, right time, lucky with my education, lucky with my job choices, and lucky with the wonderful people that I've worked with over the years. I've only ever really had bosses who say, yes, you can, let's do this. And I've been really lucky. But it feels like sometimes you need somebody in your life, and that might be somebody like you, who says, you know what, Eleanor, don't. Don't do that.
You're going off piece. That's not the right thing. And this is why, based on what we've learned about you. And absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely right. I actually respect people more if they tell me straight, you're being a real knob here.
I get a lot of clients who say that to me, who say, like, just tell me as it is. Don't dress it up. Give me, give me I will.
I need you to dress it up. I need you to dress it up. But I don't mind, I don't mind being told that my ideas aren't going to work if they're not.
Yeah.
And that is something that maybe in comms, instead of being told that your ideas aren't going to work by a prospective client, you just get ghosted. They just stop speaking to you.
True.
Or they feedback in different ways. And, ghosting is a problem in all agencies and all careers. But positive feedback or constructive feedback is really important. And I'm pretty sure that if I create a wedding ceremony for a couple and it doesn't hit the mark, they're not going to just put up with it. They're not going to say, Eleanor, oh, that's so great, you're so funny, you're so creative, if they think it's going to be crap. Because it's your big day.
They're invested 100%.
Yeah.
So, can I circle back to where we first started? It's like, now, how do you feel now that you're doing this, right? And you're creating amazing wedding ceremonies for people, and when you're in the job, how does it feel?
Oh, wow. It feels like a big privilege, because you're stepping into somebody's romantic relationship to hear all about it. And as you're creating the ceremony together, it's like a secret that only you and them know. And that feels really cool. And it plays to my natural sense of theatre, in that I love then taking that back to the audience. And you cannot help but do that with a massive smile on your face. And you can't help but do it with the level of humour that it requires as well. Obviously, some ceremonies require deep solemnity, especially if it's a celebration of life or a funeral. But most people just want to take the sort of laugh, and the whole world will laugh with you approach. And there's a lot of, in an independent ceremony, there's a lot more kind of toasting of people and, roasting of people. The best man might get a hard time, or the father of the bride, or, lots more people get involved. Sometimes it can be a big game. I'm talking to a couple at the moment about turning their ring exchange into a live game of Guess Who. So having it as Guess Who's Got the Rings. So they have to play Guess Who on either side of the room with the audience to find out who's got the ring to put on their finger. Stuff like that. It can be brilliant, bonkersly ridiculous,
and bonkers, and awesome.
And using song lyrics and things like that, and advert jingles as your vows or your readings. That actually is something I love doing.
I can see it. I can see it. That's amazing.
It can also be really serious. So, I'm getting to travel. I'm getting to everybody's happy. I mean, obviously there's the initial stress when, just before the wedding, but everybody's happy. You're bringing a lot of joy. And I was bringing nice corporate joy before, nice coverage and nice uptick in sales or what have you, and nice, helping marketing directors, achieve their own objectives and things. And I loved doing it. I genuinely did, and I still do. One-on-one, there's a lot of joy in this. There really is. It's cool. So I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about my choices. I find it hard to say this, Alison, but I'm really proud of myself for doing it.
Good. So you should be.
Don't want everybody patting me on the back and telling me, "Oh, you're so great for doing this." But I want to be able to look back and say, "Yeah, there was a fork in the road there, and I took that path." I wouldn't have been doing anybody any good if I'd stayed doing my previous job. They're all flying along. The company is doing brilliantly. I'm in touch with them. They're great. I make friends where I work, and I love that. And I'm proud to have done the work that I did, and I've achieved some great things. But this is achieving great stuff for me.
Yeah. I'm all for that.
And if it was up to me and I didn't have to earn any money at all, that I would be a tour guide. I'd be prancing around some historical town, just accosting random people and telling them stuff about, look at this over here. Or I'd be back at uni studying because I love to learn. And that's not possible. Maybe later. But for now,
maybe that's the third career. But for now. So how can people find you? If anybody is in need of an awesome celebrant, or they know somebody who might need somebody like you, how do they find you?
Well, they can come to my website, which is eleanorwillock.com. That's Willock with a WILLOCK. Or you can find me at the_full_stop_celebrant at Instagram. And I think the Full Stop Celebrant on Facebook. And if you really want to find me on TikTok, it's TikTok Full Stop.
I'm going to go and have a look straight after this.
Please don't. It's so terrible. I'm not dancing or anything.
I'm going to include all of your socials and your website details in the show notes for people so that they can find you. I'm going to go and have a look at your TikTok now. But honestly, thanks so much for coming on and sharing the details of your journey so far.
Oh, you're welcome.
From an audience point of view, I think there's an awful lot in what you've shared around, transferable skills and, how to utilize the core strengths that you've got, and even like that transition piece, every transition is different for different people based on financial circumstances and personal circumstances. But, I think really what you provided is inspiration that is possible. You can do it.
Yeah. I hope so. Because, and also the last point I'd like to make is there's no shame in leaving a career that you've been successful in at a point that's appropriate for you and the business. You're not giving up. You're not giving anything up. You're starting something new. And don't be beaten.
It's a beautiful point. Love it. Listen, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
And for anybody listening, if anything that we've shared today and talked about is useful to anyone, potentially useful to anybody please do share the podcast link, share the love. And until next time, I believe in you and your ability to create whatever it is you really want. So go do your thing. And
says the woman who's created everything she wanted. Just saying. She's
Thanks
good.
so much. Still going. Well, you take care.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you for listening today. I hope our time together has got you thinking about your own adventure in happiness. So please do get in touch. I'd love to hear more about your story. And why not join our Dream Chasers Unite community? There is nothing better than an adventure shared. Until next time, be brave and go create what you crave.